Fins, feathers, and fur, a squawk or a hiss, a bark or a purr. Fur, feathers, and scales, all sizes and shapes, with all kinds of tails. Let's talk pets.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of PetPourri. I'm George Sampson, and filling in once again for Dr. Carl Peter, who's away on vacation, is Dr. Michael Glatt of the Animal Health Center at Mervyn's Plaza in Santa Clara. And tonight we introduce you to pocket pets, little tiny creatures that make wonderful pets. And Dr. Glatt, what's this week's Mythbuster?
This week, George, the myth is that the only reason to have your pet dog or cat neutered is for purposes of population control, prevent them from breeding. There are many reasons why dogs and cats should be neutered, and those reasons are both behavioral and medical, as well as the social responsibility of reducing population problems. That's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Right you are, and as always, we'll be going to the phones to answer your pet health care questions, so be sure to phone up with them. But first, if you've ever wondered about the do's and don'ts of clipping your pet's nails, well, here's Dr. Carl Peter with this week's health tip.
Nails can be very uncomfortable for both the pet and the owner. Regular nail trims are an important part of your pet's care. The nail consists of a quick, which is a cone-shaped vascular structure inside of the nail. We have to be careful not to cut the quick when the nail is cut. To get a general idea of where the quick is in your dog's nail, if the nails are clear, you'll be able to identify the quick as a pink structure within the nail. Another good rule of thumb is to draw an imaginary line parallel to the bottom of the pad past the nail. This gives you a rough idea of where the quick is. When the nails are cut, small amounts should be taken off from the tip moving backwards until a small gray dot appears. This signals that you're nearing the quick. When doing a nail trim, be sure not to overlook the dew claw. The dew claw doesn't get any wear during normal motion in the dog and can grow very long and even back into the pad, causing extreme pain. It needs to be trimmed more often than the other nails for this reason. Should you accidentally cut the quick, don't worry. Just apply a little pressure and use a product such as Styptic pencil or Quick Stop, which is available at pet stores or your veterinarian. Regular foot care is important to prevent breaking of nails and other problems that arise from having nails that are too long. Some animals aren't used to having their feet handled, so be patient, practice, use lots of praise, and pretty soon your pet won't mind at all as you do your regular nail trims.
And remember, dogs do not use press-on nails. This week on PetPourri, we're looking at pocket pets, rabbits, guinea pigs, pet rats, little tiny ones. Our guest is Dr. Lynn Tanasaki, who practices at the Oak Meadow Veterinary Hospital in Los Gatos. Dr. Tanasaki treats dogs and cats, but she also treats smaller pets like the ones she's brought with her tonight. Now, we have here two very distinctly different types of rabbits. What do we have here?
The one I have here is called an English Angora. This is Maximilian. He's about 2 to 3 months old, and he's so soft if you can feel him. I wish everyone could. He will grow to be about twice his size, to be about 6 to 8 pounds, and they generally live to be about 6 to 8 years.
Will his coloring stay the same as he
It'll
ages?
stay pretty much the same, but he'll probably lighten. There are various colors to this breed. They're all just beautiful. But we picked him because he was so cute.
I love that face, that little nose. Now,
Yes.
what about this one in front of me?
This one here is called an English Spot. This is Theodore. He's also a young rabbit. He's about 7 months old. And he's going to be a little bit bigger. He's going to be about 6 to 7 pounds when he gets to be full grown. And he's, as you can see, a quite different body, just more slender. They tend to be a little bit more high-spirited than the English Angoras. These guys tend to be a lot more just calm and quiet.
Except for tonight.
Except for tonight.
As luck would have it. What do these rabbits require in terms of cages? How much space do they need?
A cage about this size would be fine for a rabbit his size, but they do need exercise, so even if they are out for a few hours a day, that would probably be okay. Some people do like them as house pets because they're fairly clean, they're litter box trained, and they get the exercise, but you have to be careful because they do chew on things too.
Well, that's their natural way, isn't it?
Yes,
Rodents
they
after.
are, right.
Well, what do you feed them? What do they need for diet?
Their general diet are alfalfa pellets, but they should be fed some extra roughage like alfalfa hay, oat hay, or fresh vegetables, avoiding real watery vegetables like lettuce. Yeah.
Okay. Now you brought some other pocket pets
Yes,
along
we
too.
did.
These
Yeah.
two would take rather large pockets, I'll point
Yeah.
out. But, do we have some more critters, please? Okay, I'll trade you here.
Okay.
Now, okay, there goes one rabbit. There goes another one. Just in the nick of time. And what do we have here?
Now this little hairy one is a guinea pig, or also called a cavy. They originated from the Andes Mountains, and they were used as food source there. Of course, we wouldn't do that to him, but he is a long hair. There's several breeds of cavies. A lot of them are short hair, but there are a few that are long hair too.
How long do they live?
These guys generally about 4 to 5 years. Yeah.
What are their personalities like as pets?
They're very quiet. They're very gentle animals. They don't bite. It's pretty rare for them to bite. They generally don't jump up and down either, and don't climb, so they're easily kept in a small area. They're very quiet, except once in a while they'll start to learn when feeding time is, and they'll start squealing. But in general, they're very, very nice pets.
Of course, you touched on some of the reasons why people might want to consider a pocket pet. You don't need to take them out for walks, and they don't take up a lot of space. But what are some of the considerations people should think about before they go out and get a smaller pet like this?
All cage pets, it's very important to remember that we take all the care. You know, we place them in certain areas. They shouldn't be in areas that are very hot or very drafty. Is very important because they'll catch different diseases. And rabbits especially, but all these animals are very prone to heat stroke. So in the summertime, like the time we're in now, they can very easily get heat stroke and die.
Okay, or run away, as the case may be. Now, we have yet 2 more animals that you brought along. Why don't we bring those on, too? Okay. We have a couple little rats here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. This is Sunny.
Sunny,
And she's a
this is
sable.
Cher, right? No, okay.
And that's Showers. She's
Hi,
a brown
Showers.
hooded, which is the coloration. And they love to crawl around. A lot of times you'll find them on people's shoulders because they tend to like to climb up things.
Like ties, for example.
Yeah, they hope they don't eat mics.
Well, we'll find out, won't we? You know, rats carry a certain stigma of they carry disease. Is this a valid
Well,
consideration?
you know, they've been really domesticated for centuries. They've been pets, and as long as they're kept healthy, they don't pass on diseases. You know, wild rats have been known to carry other diseases, but they are different species, actually, from our house rat. Yeah.
With pocket pets in general, can a pet owner take them to just any veterinarian, or do you need a specialist?
Well, most veterinarians know a little bit about them, but it does take a little special training in order for them to, you know, really know a lot of the diseases that rats and these other little guys have. So it's best to call around and find someone who has treated whatever pet that you have.
Okay, well, Dr. Tanasaki will be joining us later during tonight's phone segment, and we might even have Showers here with us, too. So this is not the weather report, folks. So if you have any questions about these smaller pets, be sure and call in, because Dr. Tanasaki would like to answer those questions. Right now, though, it's time for tonight's Adopt-A-Pet. This week, we meet Sandy, a very friendly little dog that's in need of a good home, Showers. And to tell you more, here's Cynthia Smith of the Santa Clara County Humane Society.
This is our Adopt-A-Pet for the week. His name is Sandy. He's a 7-month-old male Cocker Spaniel mix. He must be neutered, so his adoption fee is $59. This includes medical checkup, vaccinations, license, collar, and tag. He's housebroken, but he barks and digs a little because of the amount of time he was left outside alone. If you can give a friendly dog like Sandy a home, call the Humane Society of Santa Clara Valley, 408-727-3383, for adoption information.
Okay, I'd like to remind you that we will be going to the phones in just a few minutes, but if you want, you can call now and get on the line at area code 408-437-5400. Right now, though, it's time for this week's Mythbuster with Dr. Michael Glatt. And tonight, the myth is, Michael, the only reason to have your pet spayed or neutered is for population control. Well, Dr. Glatt, there are a number of other factors involved, aren't there?
Absolutely, George. In addition to the social responsibility of reducing the population problem, the unwanted litters of dogs and kittens, there are a number of behavioral and medical reasons to have your dog or cat neutered. And I hope this evening that I can give you just a few ideas, something perhaps you didn't know about before, that would make it easier for you to make the decision to have your pet neutered. But before I discuss that, I'd like to define a few terms that we'll be using this evening. The term neutering or castration are synonymous terms and apply equally to both males and females. Neutering and castration means the removal of the testicles in male pets and the removal of the ovaries in females. The term spaying is limited to the use of dogs, female dogs, and it has to do with the elimination or the surgical removal only of the ovaries. However, when we spay or neuter or castrate female dogs, we not only remove the ovaries, but the uterus as well. So, in essence, neutering and castration and spaying have to do with the removal of the either ovaries or testicles of males or females. Male cats should be neutered for a number of reasons aside from population control. One reason is to reduce the odor of their urine. If they're indoor cats, male tomcat urine is unbearable to live with and can make houses inhabitable. They should also be neutered to prevent them from spraying in the house, and they should also be neutered to prevent problems with aggression or dominance. They'll become nicer pets. Male dogs should be castrated to reduce their tendency to roam, run away from home, fight with male dogs, aggressiveness towards people, mounting people's legs, which is a social problem. And most importantly, it's done to prevent them from having prostatic disease. It's extremely common in older dogs, as it is in people, to develop inflammatory problems of the prostate, which include infections, cysts, abscesses, and tumors. Also, in castrating male dogs, you eliminate their chances of getting testicular tumors, which are very common.
Okay, well, Dr. Glatt, is there such a thing as birth control for dogs?
Absolutely. There are birth control medications available for dogs that are approved. One, it can be administered in tablet form, and if started within the first 3 days of bleeding and given for a period of 8 days, will take a bitch out of heat until she recycles 4 to 6 months later. There's also drops that can be given to female dogs on a daily basis, and as long as you don't skip any days, they will stay out of heat until you decide you want to breed them and take them off that liquid.
Is there a long hospitalization and convalescence after spaying or neutering?
Absolutely not. Routinely, animals are admitted into the hospital in the morning, and the majority of them, unless there's some complications, which are extremely uncommon, they're discharged from the hospital to go home and sleep it off the same day.
Okay, Dr. Glatt, let's recap this week's Mythbuster.
Well, one thing that I want you to realize is that there are many reasons to have your cat or dog neutered in addition to population control. These reasons are both behavioral and medical, and if these procedures are done, your pet can be a more enjoyable pet, less of a nuisance when they come into heat, and it can only enhance your relationship with your pet. There's no reason not to do it.
Okay, some good advice. Now, we're going to be going to the phones in just a few minutes to answer your questions. The number to call, once again, is area code 408-437-5400. But first, here's this week's PetPourri calendar of events. Santa Clara County Humane Society is offering free animal behavior seminars on the third Thursday of each month. Classes are from 7 till 9 at night. And for further information, get your pencil. You can give them a call at area code 408-727-1128. I'm going to give that number once again. It's area code 408-727-1128. And if you enjoyed our segment on pocket pets and you think you might like having a pet rabbit for yourself, well, you should know about an organization called Rabbit Rescue. They're a nonprofit group that offers rabbits of all sizes and all different breeds for adoption. And if you'd like to get in touch with them, give them a call at, I love this is called the Bunny Hotline at area code 415-796-4354. Once again, that's area code 415-796-4354, and that's for the Bunny Hotline if you want to adopt a rabbit. All right, time now for questions from our viewers, and tonight Dr. Glatt is being joined by Dr. Len Tanasaki once again. And so we're all set to take your questions about dogs, cats, or pocket pets this week. And remember, when you call, we need to know the type of pet, its breed, its sex, its age, and of course your specific question. Excuse me. But before we take the first call, Dr. Glatt, I heard a news report today that said President Bush's dog, Millie, was suffering from lupus. And I was wondering, is this a common problem with dogs?
I wouldn't say that it's common, but by no means is it uncommon. I think all veterinarians are associated with lupus, and I think it's an extremely underdiagnosed disease. Lupus is what's known as an autoimmune disease in which the body produces antibodies against one's own tissues. And there are two forms of lupus. One is called systemic lupus, and that's associated with generalized inflammation, fevers, anemia, kidney disease, arthritis. And then there's a localized form called discoid lupus, and owners can recognize this usually by discoloration of the nose, loss of pigmentation, and crusting around the nares or the nasal passages. Sometimes it can be a tough disease to diagnose, but it's oftentimes an easy disease to treat.
Okay, President Bush, if you're watching tonight, there's your answer. We are going to go to the phones now, and our first caller is Walter in San Jose. Good evening, Walter. Are you with us, Walter? Okay, we seem to have lost Walter, so while we search for the missing Walter, we have a letter from Ann in Redwood City who writes, I just got a male beagle puppy. How long before I begin housebreaking him?
I think you can start too early and start off on the wrong foot with your puppy. I think the age of perhaps 3 months is a good time to really get into housebreaking, but you can start earlier. And the trick to housebreaking is to assume that whenever your doggy has to go to the bathroom, that he does. As soon as he wakes up, as soon as he's done eating or drinking water, before he goes to bed, as soon as you wake up, before he goes to sleep, millions of times a day, take this puppy outdoors to relieve himself and praise him when he does. I think there's a lot of disadvantages to using newspaper for housebreaking because what happens when you take the newspaper away, they don't know where to go. So don't rub their noses in it. Take them outside as often as you can, many times a day. Praise them for it. And you can start that as early as you'd like. I don't think 6 weeks would be too early, but give them time. Don't be harsh.
Okay, I think we have a caller on the line, Mike in San Mateo. Hello, Mike. Welcome to PetPourri.
Hi.
Hi. What's your question?
I wanted to know how to treat rat fleas.
Rat fleas, that's a good question. Dr. Tanasaki, is this an issue?
We do see different parasites in rats, rabbits, guinea pigs. For the small ones, it is important to use a safe insecticide on them. Pyrethrins tend to be the safest ones, and in general, that would be in baths or a spray form. But all the other ones can potentially cause toxicity, so we try to avoid them.
Is this a problem that you see a lot of?
Actually, no, because most of our rats are kept indoors and above the ground, so they tend to be very clean, yes.
Okay, our next caller is on the line, Lee in San Jose. Hello, Lee. Welcome to PetPourri.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Yeah, I've got a 7-year-old male Shih Tzu, and we were wondering if we had him castrated. He's basically housebroken, but he tends to want to go around the end of furniture and stuff and mark it. Will that help with that problem?
Dr. Glatt?
Yes, that will. Regardless of your pet's age, urine marking is dramatically decreased by castration. It's not a habit you're going to be able to break him of from a behavioral point of view. Have him castrated. That's the first step. If that doesn't work, there are other medical procedures that can be performed, hormone therapy, and it's also important to rule out the possibility that he may have a bladder infection or prostatic disease. But yes, castration is your first step.
Okay, some good advice. Our next call is on the line, Mary in San Jose. Hello, Mary. You're on PetPourri.
Hello, I have a question for the doctor on rats.
Okay, Dr.
We
Tanasaki.
have 2 female rats as family pets. They're very, very friendly, And they do have a large cage. They're very social, and they do get let out a lot into the bedroom, and they tend to chew up all the wires and clothing and anything that they can get their teeth into. Is this a normal thing for rats?
Dr. Tanasaki, did you hear the question?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, basically her question is she has rats that she likes to let run around the house, and they tend to chew up the wires.
Oh, yes.
What do you have to say about this?
Well, in all of these, it is a bad problem. Try to avoid putting them in an area that has wires if you can isolate them. The other thing to do is you can try to use a deterrent. I guess my favorite is Tabasco sauce because it's non-toxic, but it sure gives the message. The other thing you could try is maybe a little Vaseline mixed with some chili powder. Those are safe, but hopefully effective. You just have a bigger mess afterwards. Once they do learn, hopefully they will stay away. Like I said, try and keep the wires up if that's, if that's part of the problem. But it's unfortunate that we can't get, keep away from that.
Well, I guess that's the risk you take when you have pet rats.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, we're on the line with Daisy in San Jose. Hello, Daisy.
No, I'm from Monterey.
Monterey, I stand corrected.
I have a 9-year-old male neutered cat who's very well behaved, but he has a strange habit. He likes to drink water out of the john. And we kept his water dish, fresh water, in his dish by his food in the kitchen, and he wouldn't touch it. And since we've made a habit of keeping the johns closed, we put his water in one of the bathrooms, and he loves it. Why do they like to drink out of the john?
Okay, Michael, you're on.
Next caller, please.
No, you don't get off that easy.
Only your cat could answer that question. It's extremely common for cats to drink not only out of their own water bowls, but out of the toilet or directly out of the faucet. And toilet water, as long as it is not used, is potable water. There's nothing wrong with his drinking out of the toilet, except that he might get the seat wet. I can't tell you why he does. It's an individual preference.
Okay, next call comes from Gary in Cupertino. Hello, Gary.
Hi there. I'm babysitting an animal for a friend of mine called a ferret. And I had never heard of one before. I'm wondering how popular they are.
Dr. Tanasaki, how popular are ferrets as a pet?
They are very popular primarily in other states, but in California they are considered illegal. They are wonderful pets. They've been domesticated also for a very, very long time. Unlike minks or weasels, their relatives, they're very tame. And occasionally you can get bites, but you can get bites from cats and dogs also. So it's unfortunate that we can't have them here, but yes, they are wonderful pets.
Okay, and I believe we have Walter in San Jose on the line. Hi, Walter.
Yes, we have about a 3-year-old small rabbit whose toenails on the rear feet have grown quite long. Can they and should they be trimmed, and how?
Can we trim the toenails on a 3-year-old small rabbit? And should they be trimmed, and how do we go about doing this?
Yes, nails on rabbits are very sharp and are worth trimming. So you can get, if it's a very small rabbit, you can get a people's toenail clipper or nail clippers or cat clippers. You can even try it with dog clippers, but you need to use some restraint so you don't get hurt. If the rabbit's been handled a lot, cradle the rabbit in your arms and slowly, one foot at a time, go ahead and trim them. If you can't do it, it's worthwhile taking them to your veterinarian to get it done.
Okay, and Walter, just want to remind you that next week we're going to be doing an entire show on pet grooming, so you might pick up some tips there. Our next call comes from Santa Clara, where Beverly is watching PetPourri tonight. Hi, Beverly.
Hi. I'm wondering, is it ever too late to neuter a male dog? I have a 6-year-old that suddenly decided to attack a 15-year-old, and I've been told that perhaps neutering him might solve the problem.
The dog is 16 years old, and he's attacked?
We have a 6-year-old dog that's suddenly attacking a 15-year-old male.
It's never too late to neuter him to correct behavioral problems. But the problem may, by now, be habit, and that may be difficult for you to deal with. In all probability, this behavioral trait is being expressed because the older dog is so much older, and now the younger one is attempting to exert his dominance. go ahead and have him neutered. Again, that's your first step in dealing with this. But also have that older pet examined to make sure that he's not suffering from any debilitating problems that might make him more of a target.
Okay, and on the line in Palo Alto is Nancy. Hi, Nancy. Welcome to PetPourri.
Hi. I have a 1-year-old female lab mix dog, and a neighbor told me I could use vitamin B1 to control fleas, and I just want to know if that works.
That's a myth. It doesn't work. I explained that on last week's show, that it seems that some people who take B vitamins seem to resist the attraction of mosquitoes, and this is because B vitamins are excreted through the sweat glands. In dogs, excess B vitamins, being water-soluble, will be excreted through their sweat glands, which are primarily on their tongue, their nose, and the bottom of their feet. So if you give them B vitamins, you will keep fleas off those areas. No, don't depend on B vitamins. It gives you a false sense of confidence. Spray your dog with pyrethrin spray. Spray him every day.
Okay, we have time for just one more caller. Cindy in San Jose. Hello, Cindy.
Hello. I was wondering what your opinion was why ferrets were illegal in California, and if they're neutered and descented and kept as good house pets.
Well, I'm going to throw this one to Dr. Tanasaki. What is your opinion on this law of ferrets being illegal in California, and if they're neutered and descented, do they make good house pets?
Yes, they do make good house pets, and neutering and taking out the anal sacs make them more pleasant animals also. There is a lot of controversy. California has gone back and forth on how they want to deal with ferrets. I myself think that they do make good pets as long as they're cared for, as well as other pets. Some of the reasons hopefully will be dissipating, like the rabies vaccines, which is now being approved for ferrets. So we may be seeing some changes here. I do hope they will, and there are some associations out there. If you would like to help, contact them, the ferret associations, to help them support it.
Okay, unfortunately that's all the time that we have this week. However, you could always send us a letter if you didn't get through on the phones. Our address is PetPourri, care of KTEH, 100 Skyport Drive. We're in San Jose, California, 95110-1301. And I'd like to thank Dr. Michael Glatt for filling in these past 2 weeks, and also Dr. Lynn Tanasaki for joining us this evening. Next week, Dr. Carl Peter will be back as we present a program all about the proper grooming of your pet, and we hope you can join us. Until then, I'm George Sampson, and on behalf of Dr. Glatt and Dr. Tanasaki, we thank you for joining us on PetPourri.